yeah, so here we are in turn 5, 2 lands each. Mid-rangey black-white versus mono-white humans. Hopeful Initiate could take out this Smuggler's Copter if there were enough +1/+1 counters and there were another land, but neither of those things is true, and so in fact, Smuggler's Copter and his friend Mesmeric Fiend are holding back the whole team. 4 cards in hand, no plays. Oh, that one gamer thinks hidden that land drop is way more important than very temporarily holding off these 1/2/2/2/3s, and is getting in, trying to loot their way to land 3, presumably. Also curious if we're going to have a Cathar Commando, which could potentially take out the Smuggler's Copter here. And in fact, we are. So this is something we've seen a lot in this tournament. White Weenie player seemingly does nothing with 4 cards in hand. Answer, they have Cathar Commando. Did not hit the 3rd land, ditched a Kaya, and now facing an attack for 8 while on 12. So, oh, and in fact, all of the Hopeful Initiates grow, so it's actually an attack for 11. We have 1 condemn, but not 2. One of the condemns... Oh, Brave the Elements is gonna do crazy things here. It's gonna make a Shuttled by Ghost fall off, causing a Mesmeric Fiend to come into play, but it's also gonna protect whoever was targeted with the condemn. We take a Thalia, because we're not beating that. And then, we could block the one, oh no, yeah, it's protection from white, so the Fiend can block and trade with Cathar Commando, go to 5. Does put a Thalia in hand, but presumably they don't have the land, or somewhat unlikely that they have the land. I guess if they do have the land and they play Thalia, it's GG, but also taking 10 when you're on 12 is pretty GG. So tough decisions to be made. The old Brave the Elements Sheltered by Ghosts interaction comes up again, I guess. So some thinking going on here. Down to 5, a 1/1 and a Smuggler's Copter in play. The Hopeful Initiates, one of them's gotten ahead of the other 2 and now pumps the other 2 at least one more time. So facing pretty lethal attack next turn and just not finding that 3rd land. So maybe going to game 2 soon here. Spamming any old random creature to get the last points of damage in. No danger of a Wrath. Turn 7, we hit land 3. I don't think even the mid-rangey version of Orzhov is happy to play a game that looks like that. Could we have something like a Kaya's Guile to stabilize? Does that stabilize? It looks pretty rough. Probably can't attack with Smuggler's Copter. A Brutal Cathar here might be good. Or not completely terrible. And here is Brutal Cathar. So take out biggest creature, makes sense. Now there's some kind of cat and mouse here with Giant Killer can tap, but Smuggler's Copter is a good blocker. So maybe you just attack with 2 Hopeful Initiates. If they go to animate the Smuggler's Copter, you tap it. So if there's nothing better in hand, that seems pretty good. It's not attacking for life total, but untapping to land Wrath isn't even good for Robbie2540. For that one gamer, some person with numbers on the end of their username. I will note that that one gamer is a good nearly 1,700 higher than Robbie, so that could be significant. So is it?
You do have to.
Go on.
You do have to be careful here about not casting a spell, though, in case that makes it night and then 2 spells get cast to flip the Brutal Cathar again.
Well, as a person who has only misplayed into Brutal Cathar for this entire season, including 5 times in one game this week, I am unable, completely unable to comprehend this card. But that is a very good point. If you do go for a, I'm going to get him for 4 damage or only give you crappy blocks, kind of move this turn and let them brutal you once more, that could be pretty bad. Looks like they might be going for that though. What does attack all do? I mean, it just really depends on the hand. Attack all is pretty terrible. Okay, so they think this plan might be good enough. They also have the option to kill the smuggler's copter, but it makes their guys absolutely tiny. So it's presumably not a good play. It is, once again, really quite a complicated state with this humans deck, which just between all of these moderately aggro humans with extra rules text is just creates quite complicated situations. So are they going to go to 1 here? You certainly don't chump just to save 2 life, do you? No.
That doesn't make sense. They can chump at any time.
Yeah. And it gives them another body, and there's just, I don't really know what the out is here though, because a wrath isn't an out because it gives the opponent 2 creatures. So there's
you definitely wrath or you definitely chump if you think the wrath is the out.
I wonder if Sheltered by Ghosts here does something. I don't know if they're playing Sheltered by Ghosts, perhaps not.
It doesn't do anything though.
I mean,
it
does let you gain 3 life, right? Which
with the provoke creature, they can provoke it and then pay 2 mana to prevent all the damage that will be dealt to or by.
So they'd have to shelter the Deathblade Elite, and then their guy would get tapped. So then they'd have to attack if they want to gain the life.
Well, hypothetically, they can't tap right now because they would need 4 mana to do so.
Oh, it gets Ward 2.
But also hypothetically, there's 2 hopeful initiates.
Okay, Strangler is nice. Now you can block with whoever dumps a card, and you get rid of body, and you get another blocker. That's a lot of, it's a lot of stuff for 3 mana, but you're only on 1. Although tapping's not that great because if you tap anything, it can be used to crew the copter. But I guess there are a lot of things that just win on the spot here. Actually, maybe not that many. Because whoever's getting removed can just crew the copter. Provoke 3/2. Attack all is bad.
Planes like Cathar Commando probably wins.
We don't have the ability to destroy the smuggler's copter till we do something. This is interesting. Not as dead as they looked, and they hit a 4th land drop, although admittedly they had to play it tapped because it was a Godless Shrine, but Hope Springs Eternal here. You really want to at least put them in a spot where they've got to lose their Brutal Cathar, but I don't actually see, not on board, a way to do that. But of course they do have 2 cards in hand, which are not lands. Is there any kind of like pass the turn, end step, tap a guy? The Ward on Brutal Cathar is pay 3 life, which they don't care about right now. So if they let it flip 1 time, but then that opens up the possibility of double spell from previously mana screwed opponent. There's a lot going on. Deathblade Elite is quite a complicated card as well. It's got like, can provoke any one of 3 creatures if it attacks, and then you can either
prevent to note that the Strangler got rid of the card under the Mesmeric Fiend and not the card under the Brutal Cathar.
Probably with the idea that you're most likely to want to block with the Fiend, because Cathar staying in play opens up the possibility of it flipping, or even flipping and flipping back. Maybe? That's a theory.
Yeah, but at the same time, it does seem like...
It does open the door for Sheltered by Ghosts to be very good against you. Okay, so they're going with tap end of turn, probably, unless there's a Cathar Commando, I guess.
Well, it probably isn't a Cathar Commando, because if it was a Cathar Commando,
They could play it, and then if they ever tried to crew the copter,
probably
shoot the copter. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably win if it's a Cathar Commando, because there's no way that you...
So this is probably just end of turn, tap the thing I like least, untap, tap the other thing, try and kill you, provoke the biggest thing.
Well, you can't really... If you double tap, the copter gets crewed on the second tap. But...
True. Well, this end of turn tap is pretty reasonable. Pretty good for you. Although that one game is passing the turn, having been mana screwed all game, with 4 mana in hand.
Is it abstruse in this deck?
I don't think so.
Guess.
I guess I can.
Keith does tap for colorless mana. That's a good guess.
Say what?
Well, I feel like we're gonna see it if that's what's happening.
So here's Thalia forcing the issue if we wanted to spend 4 mana on a non-creature spell. Looks like we did want to spend 4 mana on a non-creature spell.
Presumably it's going to be... I guess it could be any of them. But
okay, it is abstruse.
It is hopeful.
There are 4 abstruse in the main of this deck, actually. It's called Orzhov Control in the registration, although it does have 12 main deck creatures and no like 6 mana, 7 mana planeswalkers.
I mean, this is pretty controlling.
Yeah. I mean, it's just funny to me that your control deck is playing like Mesmeric Fiend, Brutal Cathar, but not impossible. So the Deathblade Elite here can...
So,
Deathblade doesn't do anything, because whoever you provoke can tap the copter after it's been provoked. So this is just a suicide, actually.
Yep.
If that one gamer sees it.
A suicide attack, and not only that, it also is going to flip the Moonrage Brood back.
Oof. Okay. Well, a misstep here. I mean, this is the 8th round of Magic.
Wow. Didn't do it.
Misstep in both directions, possibly.
Maybe they both know something we don't.
I mean, maybe Smuggler's Copter is like super valuable. I don't know. I think if you get given a free piece of cardboard, you accept it. So yeah, there's not a secret meaning here. It's just a miss, I think. But yeah. Well, I mean, Mono White Humans empty-handed, still Lurrus in exile or whatever in the command zone, whatever it is.
Companion zone.
But we have, please, we have really stabilized here, haven't we? Did not Lurrus in hand.
I'm surprised at Thalia instead of Lurrus.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's Thalia because you can tap something.
Yeah, you can tap something.
Yeah, I mean, you are still just trying to get 1 point of damage in here. And that is, that obviously changes the nature, the complexity. Oh, abstruse. Oh, wow. Okay, well, we finally hit our stride mana-wise, and we have started to, do things.
Under the abstruse right now is a Hopeful Initiate and a Luminarch Aspirant.
It would be so much nicer if it was a Thalia. I mean, a Lurrus. It would have been lovely to wait for Lurrus. Okay. So we've had these cards stuck in our hands as we failed to make a 3rd land drop into.
It's a really interesting... Oh, right. You can just pay white mana for abstruse creatures. Yes. Okay. So they cast 2 spells, so they're going to flip back their Moonrage Brood again.
Oof, yeah. So this brute is... I mean, it has no protection from a potential removal spell, but it is otherwise taken over here, hasn't it? I mean, so many times you can exile 3 creatures and not win a game with your 3-drop, even if it was deployed on turn 7 or whatever it was. Okay, and we draw a land.
I don't think they know they have a Lurrus.
Oh, we're at 8 rounds of Magic in 1 day brain state here, I'm afraid. Although
Yeah.
Cave of the Frost Dragon is sort of like semi-lethal. There's this Smuggler's Copter to block it the first time, but it's just a chump. Crumbs. Okay, so now that they have their mana under them, they're just deploying every possible answer under the sun. And in fact, it's starting to look hard to envisage a win for humans here, when they were at some point so far ahead. I mean, Lurus
Yeah,
unanswered.
They really hate their smuggler copter.
Lurus unanswered gets you something. No. Okay. Robbie does not agree that Lurus offers hope. Let's have a look if there are any results. Presumably not yet in the top 8. So, looks like Watch has won 2-0. So that's 2 victories against White Weenie in round 7 and the quarterfinal. So could we see?
Is Watch playing Tide?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that tracks.
So could see a 4th PD 500 win for the machine known as the Watch Wanderer.
So next round I'm facing either the Shadowmaker or 13 Acres. So I really need red deck wins to win that.
Is the Shadowmaker on humans?
Yeah.
Oh, just win round 7, quarterfinal, semi-final, final against humans.
Tide.
Why not?
It's Tide. Tide can beat anything if you draw good enough.
Well, I faced the Shadowmaker and the Swiss, and I won game 1, and I feel like I both got unlucky and punted in both post-board games to lose to them. I feel like I should have won and gone 3-0 against White Weenie today.
Well, you know, there was a time when I believed White Green Auras could not lose to an aggro deck, so it's possible that humans isn't even good into High Tide either.
I mean, it is. I'm 1-6 in the season.
I'm 8-0 this season against High Tide.
Nice.
I think it's the thing where High Tide is a deck that High Tide is a deck where the person playing High Tide's play skill matters a lot more than any of the other factors.
And it is true, but it's also true that these like White Weenie mirrors and White Green Auras versus White Weenie you've been watching have been incredibly complicated and like super important to make good decisions. I mean, I guess in this game here, where Black White is playing tap lands and Mono White is on the play and has Thalia, it's less like that. But there are still a lot of games where all that stuff matters a ton. Oh my god, 3rd tap land.
Assume the plan for White-Black here is to try to condemn the Thalia and then Wrath the board.
Seems like the only possible thing. I mean, that puts you to 3 life, facing a man land that has 3 power.
Unless...
So there's now actually no draw. Certainly in the deck and maybe in the format.
I guess there might be a... I'm not sure if there's a 3-mana Wrath that manages to kill champion here.
Oh, Bontu's Last Reckoning or something.
Yeah, that would... Well, it probably wouldn't, but...
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, I at least have 3 Flare Fortitudes in my sideboard. So, like, Languish is really good against the White Weenie deck.
Yeah,
well, the Languish can't be cast is the problem.
Yeah, if you can get there.
This board state. I don't think there's a 3-mana -4 Wrath.
No.
I don't know.
No. Which is whatever is -3, right? So. Well, we have a deciding game. There's not going to be any Champion of the Parish into Thalia on the play because Black-White is on the play. See if anybody can make their 3rd land drop on turn 3 and other important activities like that.
How it's gone so far is something I've noticed playing humans through the season is against control deck. You get to play a lot of game even after you get Wrath or have a bunch of creatures.
Right,
move,
you have Lurus,
but
you have
you're way less likely. Like, even it like seems like you have a lot of long game, but to be honest, it always feels like
an uphill
way
battle.
more likely that you win if you just run them over.
I have won a lot of games against Wards of Control with Castle Iron Veil eventually.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, in that scenario, though, I mean, we saw it just now. It really felt like, okay, Brave the Elements here, pretty good. I mean, it's only a 2/2 you're keeping alive, but presumably it's going to grow and cause havoc. You know, I mean, against Black-White earlier, Brutal Cathar, I mean, it's just good, isn't it? So it's a 2/2 for 3 that's somehow also good.
It's a very different version of Control than the like all spells and planeswalkers.
Yeah, I mean, the player registering it has called it Orzhov Control, but I think, you know, if you've got 12 creatures in your main deck, some of which, you know, you would be very sad to wrath away. The thing is, what you can do is Wasteland Strangler away the thing that's under your Fiend or your Cathar, and then not care so much about the fact that you're wrathing away some of your own guys, and then play a Planeswalker. So it's sort of got that Orzhov Control element, but it's definitely not the same as...
Question is also
Yes, right. And they're actually, I think, only playing 2. So it's definitely off the, you know, my main idea is to wrath and play Planeswalkers. It is playing Kaya. It's not playing the more expensive Planeswalkers. It's interesting.
All the more expensive Planeswalkers have pretty clear flaws.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's would be really reasonable to call this deck mid-range. Really, really reasonable. Maybe considerably more reasonable than calling it Control, but I mean, obviously it's...
I think it's pretty controlling.
I mean, it's in the control role here.
Aggro plan.
I mean, it's playing Wastelands.
But I mean, can Smuggler's Copter truly be said to be a control card, even in this particular configuration?
It was an everything card in Standard.
I mean, it is just very good, I suppose, you know. Card selection and having a 3/3 for 2 and a win condition and a flyer, you know, I guess it's maybe fine. Are you attacking here? No. Seems... Well, it's 6 damage.
That implies heavily that they have a... Wait, no.
They have no cards.
No cards. I don't
Oh, well,
Ooh.
who cares about picking off one of your guys and taking a bit of damage when I can just reduce you to a 1/1? Although, Cave of the Frost Dragon now live as heck.
They could have gotten them one less land if they had...
Oh, yes. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
every percentage matters, although...
You can go from 99.9% one to...
It's interesting that Settle the Wreckage kind of overly enables Lurus, because now you can deploy it and you spend yet more mana.
Well,
but
it also doesn't
yeah,
enable her.
but it exiles everything, so there's nothing to get back. Very sad.
1/1.
So not taking the risk with not taking the chance with Merrick Fiend that they'll put Lurus in hand and not deploy it. They're just gonna spam the board and say, "I can beat your Lurus."
There's also now something in the graveyard for Lurus. Unfortunately, it is currently another 2-mana 1/1.
Well, we can. Oh,
We
are
be
just
perfectly honest,
getting
I don't
in.
know if they know they have a Lurus in their companion zone. They missed it in game 1.
It is definitely something one can forget. I'm not saying how I know that.
Yeah.
No, I have to say, having forgotten it a million times in the first few seasons it was legal, I do just pop it out, you know, at the beginning of the game, and so it's like staring me in the face until I use it. Haven't forgotten it for a long time. Looking pretty great.
Okay.
Semi-final spot for Black-White here. I mean, is there a way this goes wrong? For Black-White?
If you just have exclusively lands...
I mean, Moonrise Ball is about to flip back and snag Lurus, right? So that maybe wasn't even good.
Yeah.
Honestly, Brutal Cathar is you know, it's beyond my capabilities. It's like PhD level math.
Brutal.
It is. It's brutal at reminding you that you're not very good at this game. That's my experience.
The Brutal...
Oh, okay, but maybe it was all intentional. I mean, this is the top 8 we're talking about here.
That's strong favorite card right there. Brave the Elements.
Brave the Elements and Settle the Wreckage are the 2 cards I'm banging on about all day, and they've both been instrumental in this very game here in the quarterfinals. So I obviously got something right.
This me?
Wasteland Strangler is not white and can attack should it want to. Also, this
It's
obstinate.
not black either.
Yes.
It's not white.
That one game up, fully aware of the rules text of Devoid.
The void doesn't matter. It's protection from white.
Oh yeah, true. True. Okay,
Wow,
we can
right?
gain a bunch of life here. We
Oh,
played a second
okay.
spell, but that doesn't matter. Things are happening fast and furious here. I mean, we're gaining 5 life. Oh no, wait, it is a trade if we attack with Lurus.
It's, I believe, a 5-3, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it's not a free life bump. Do we need it? No.
We do. Wow.
Comes in.
Well.
For 2 and attacks for 5.
Oh, that's crazy.
I mean,
Aggressive.
There's a shambling vent, there's a monumental hand. You don't want to hang around here.
To be fair, if you do get some amount of damage in, then
I mean, life totals are essentially even now, although Obsidat is just
the Obsidian-
running this show, isn't he?
Yeah, it kind of ruins a lot of hopes for the Cave of the Frost Dragon.
Yeah. I mean, maybe just animate, vent, attack all 3 here is like pretty much game, or vent stays back.
This at least forces a trade. Oh, chump block.
Chump is
For
interesting.
2 life.
Well, I guess the thing is that Obsidat's trigger is going to kill them. So making that...
Jump there, it would be game.
What's that? If they don't chump, yeah. They take 3 more and then they exile Obsidat and kill them in the next thing. So yeah, it's kind of forced, I guess.
Well, they take 2 more, but either way, I think there's not any good way to actually deal with this.
So
because I don't
would you
think
block
we-
with your shambling vent here? I mean, they have 3 cards in hand, so we can't really know what the right strategy is for
This
them.
just puts them to dead on board.
But I think
This
blocking...
is the game's over now.
Obsidian comes in, drains for 2, and then there's only 1 blocker. for-
Don't worry, there's still more Settle the Wreckages to come. Yeah, that's game. Okay, don't even... Shambling vent and Irrelevance. I don't know why I keep going on about it. Okay, white, black, either mid-range or control, depending on your theories of life, into the semi-finals alongside High Tide. And I think, are those 2 matches paired? Looks like Garcia Edu won the blue-red control mirror 2-0. Oh, no, that is not paired against High Tide. So the blue-red, Garcia Edu on blue-red control is playing that one game with that we just saw win. And the winner of this is playing High Tide. So very interesting to some of our listeners, our viewers, I don't know what the right word is, who wins here. The deck with Thalia and Silence or the deck without Thalia and Silence. Looking pretty good for mono white, but there are 4 cards in hand for beakers / 13 ekers / however you say that. Robert of the Rich doesn't seem like the craziest powerful turn 5 play that I've ever seen. This active Grim Lavamancer potentially doing work. Lurus remains in the silly zone. Could be a burst lightning here. So just preemptively blowing up the thing and now provoking your guy, presumably. Maybe some red spell that gives first strike and +1/+0 has been rescued from limited to save the day here. Or galvanic discharge. Maybe burst lightning. Oh, it makes way more sense to take out the Lavamancer. I just forget what provoke does sometimes. Did not trade.
What are the life totals?
What's that?
What are the life totals?
7 for 13 ekers and 17 for the Shadowmaker. Oh, am I not showing you this match? I'm not showing you this match. Let me correct this. Why doesn't it just do what I think? Why do I have to click things? Okay. We are back. So yeah, so we have a kind of a pretty great estate for mono white. They managed to provoke and kill that Grim Lavamancer last turn, and it's all just kind of brutal. And I guess we're hopefully attacking with Rob of the Rich, hoping to expose some great thing. I think we had a veteran survivor, which we will now deploy, perhaps. Yup. But it's looking, well, 2 cards in hand, so it remains possible that those 2 cards are great, although it looks like we haven't missed a land drop yet, perhaps. I might just be flooding a little. Thalia's Lieutenant grows. Thalia's Lieutenant grows.
Ooh.
Everybody. And these 2 cards in hand are going to have to be not mountains. Looks like maybe a Galvanic Discharge. No, a Burst Lightning. But Provoke Face, going to eat a Robber of the Rich here. Or maybe you don't provoke it to get him.
Well, if you provoke it, you can double block it, but I don't think the red player is in a position to double block it.
Oh,
What?
we appear to have skipped our attack step. Afraid of the mono red settle the wreckage. Yeah, oh well, that's not great. That gives Beakers a little hope, maybe. You know, the lag or the 8 rounds of magic frying the brain or the mouse. But it still looks kind of dire here for mono red. Pretty cool deck though. A lot of tricksy things, lots of ways to get access to extra cards. Yeah, we did play the inevitable 6th mountain on turn 6 in our low to the ground mono red deck. We did attack hoping for the best and reveal a hopeful initiate who's definitely rather hopeful. This might be the end of the line for Party Thrasher Aggro or whatever it is. Eats the robber, happy for the gift. Oh! Spell. Probably just 2-4ing themselves, and indeed that is what's happening. So, 2 feeble blockers against 3 cards in hand, better board, Deathblade Elite, Lurus on layaway, Student of Warfare, why not? Very good attacks available. If the last card is anything significant, possibly it's Brave the Elements, of course it is. It either had to be that or Settle the Wreckage, we knew that. And Pro White against the mono red deck. That is honestly beautiful. Alright, looks like we have our semi-finalist. Humans, white-black, blue-red control, high tide. Could have maybe predicted that being the top 4. No auras, and a couple of those decks are slightly unexpected, but pretty cool. Okay, I'll try and remember to actually stream the semi-final instead of just radio commentating it for you.